West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go. And even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm alone. I'm alone. I'm alone.
Well, we say good morning to you this morning from Denmark. We're in Aabenraa, and it's a park up by a marina on a fjord. We had a super quiet night, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Sitting at around about 1 degree. Yes, there are people swimming in the fjord. Excellent quality water apparently. But oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Oh, of course, we've crossed into a new country, which means we can give Claude a sticker for being a good boy. Now the pressure's on, so I've got to get it the right way up and in the right place. Well, there isn't really a right place. There we are. Another sticker to add to our list.
It really is a huge marina here. The wind is whipping in from the north and it's absolutely bitter. Going for a walk into the town. We'll see you there. Our first task, now we're in Denmark, is to sort out the pickle we got ourselves into. On a campervan you have a water pump for your fresh water, which goes through into an accumulator, which then goes through to the tap. Occasionally it misbehaves. Well, it was misbehaving this morning and the water was coming out in kind of a water, no water, water, no water, water, no water, which suggests that there's either a blockage in the system, but as it was coming out and then stopping and then coming out, then suggests that maybe the accumulator, which has a pressure valve on it, because it went down to very low last night, probably 1 or 2 in the van, I'm thinking that maybe the pressure has dropped. So there we are, nice simple task. Get the pressure pump out. Haven't got the extension lead to run the pressure pump from the cigar lighter in the van, so thought, there we are, we'll do the sensible thing and plug it into the cigar lighter in the USB cupboard, but that's only on a 5 amp fuse, 15 amp pump. Oh, well, that's all right, I'll just go and get the bag of fuses. So it would appear that we've left all the things for the van garage in the home garage, so we're now visiting an auto repair shop. So hopefully Fanson have the answer. Looks a bit like Holford's, so we won't be asking any questions. So fingers crossed we can solve this problem. Because at the moment, because we blew the fuse, it's also knocked all the lights out in the van. I mean, we've got a torch. Buy a campervan, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Yeah, you can repair your van all over the world. The city received its municipal charter in 1335, so it's been around a while. It's located strategically at the end of the fjord and so made a great trading post. Monday the 20th of October. So today we are travelling from the port to Ribe. Ribe is on the, I imagine it's the eastern coast. We're heading west. There's a lot of trees. So Denmark isn't as flat as the rest of the Low Countries that we've travelled up through. there are lots of trees. It's remarkably clean and tidy, very organised. We stopped in the village of Gram and had a walk round the Grand Kirk. Church unfortunately was locked, but very pretty. And such a well laid out graveyard, as you can see from the photograph. Well, down into Ribe, and we're hoping to see some Viking stuff. Well, we are in Ribe, and we've come to visit the Ribe Vikinger Viking Museum. The museum here in Ribe is fascinating. It's bringing life to an 8th or 9th century trading post, the oldest trading post in Scandinavia. If you drew a line across, almost equal to Hull in the UK, giving access via the Wadden Sea to major trading areas. They've found remains from all over Europe demonstrating the power of this trading post. Well, good morning from the sluice gates at the head of the river that runs into Ribe. We stayed on a campsite last night just by the sluice gates and the restaurant. The site itself was empty. There was only us. The restaurant was closed. But strangely, there were a whole stack of campervans that parked in its car park free of charge. We clearly haven't got the hang of this. So the sluice gates operate much like a lock on a canal. So the large gates at the back will open to allow traffic either in or out of the river, closing behind to protect the river from the levels of the North Sea, and then the front gates will open, allowing the boat out onto the river, or vice versa. And of course, the gates open for craft large and small. In this case, it was the lockkeeper, with a rather mad-looking dog. So if you remember our videos in North Holland, we were on the Wadden Sea, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And the Wadden Sea runs all the way from North Holland up past a brief seascape of Germany and then up along the edge of Denmark. The features of the Wadden Sea are the coastline, the salt marshes and the tidal rivers and trenches. And it's of course along the edge of the Wadden Sea that the dikes have been built, because the habitable land on the other side is between 2 and 8 metres below sea level. Of course, the thing that we have to remember is that sea levels don't stay the same. So the resting level is 4 metres. In 1976, the storm surge came to 4.7. In 1981, 5 metres. In 1999, 5.12 metres. In 1825, 5.33 metres. And in 1634, 6.1 metres. This is a fascinating museum. It's very ASMR.
It is a bit, yeah.
It tells us all about the importance of the Wadden Sea for the migration of birds, being the North Atlantic fly route.
There are parts which have so much information, and then you come into a room where there's just sound and images.
Definitely worth a visit
Absolutely.
if you're in the area. And actually, definitely worth being in the area, because there's so much to see and so much to do. So this is the causeway road to the island of Rondo, only accessible at low tide.
And it's not currently low tide.
It's currently 2:20 on the 21st of October. Low tide is around about 3:30, but we won't be making the trip because low tide later today isn't until about 9:30. And I have no intention of driving across a narrow causeway in the dark. But this is the Wadden Sea.
In 300 meters, you will arrive at your destination.
So we continue on foot.
It's only about 300 metres according to the sat-nav.
So what we're approaching is a border crossing, where we will cross from Germany into Denmark on foot. Now that might not sound so exciting, however, this is quite a unique border crossing, in as much
As it's the narrowest border crossing in the world, I think. Certainly the narrowest border crossing in Europe. Between 1920 and the Second World War, this border crossing was only available to certain people, like the children going to school, civil servants and forestry workers.
So there we are. Goodbye, Germany.
Hello, Denmark.
Hello, Denmark. The body of water to our right is the Flensburg Fjord, and the Flensburg Fjord is fed by the Baltic Sea, which is somewhere over there in the distance in the mist.
Are they Danish ducks or German ducks? They're Danish ducks.
These are Danish ducks.
In a minute they might be German ducks.
Some German ducks in the making over there.
West Pacific to the island of Kenya. They treat me like a son anywhere I go. And even though no one can tell, I still feel that I'm